Hey everyone, this is Scott from Forgot to Grow Up. Welcome to our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 7, Episodes 9 and 10 Thoughts video. Just finished catching up on the latest two episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm just going to be sharing my general thoughts on the two episodes. And so yes, in the episode 9 we got the, I don't want to say typical, but very tropey of a sci-fi show, the classic time loop episode or time storm episode, or the Groundhog Day episode as it's kind of colloquially become known as. So yeah, episode 9 was fun because we dove into that, and then episode 10 was a kind of nice little fun flashback to one of our greatest hits, as Coulson puts it. So I'm just going to talk about episode 9 first, and then I'll be talking about my thoughts about episode 10. So episode 9, again, it was the Groundhog Day episode, and I was kind of waiting for this to happen. As soon as this season had some kind of time thing involved, I'm like, okay, yep, this is a kind of having a Groundhog Day episode or some kind of, time loop episode is very cliche. I don't want to say cliche is not the right word. Very kind of, it's a trope of a sci-fi show, and superhero shows tend to fall under the sci-fi categories, particularly Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. being kind of sci-fi meets espionage. And so, yeah, I was prepared for this, but I love the way they did it with this, incorporating the time drive. Of course, there's no other reason to have a time storm or time loop in this, just out of nowhere. So yeah, incorporating the time drive, but incorporating the fact that there's kind of a time limit on their time loops, or a distance limit, so they're in a time storm, and each time the day resets, they get a little bit closer to the event horizon, or the end, the part where the story ends, in a sense, where where our guys meet their end. And so I really enjoy that element was added into it, because we have this finite timeline that makes more sense when you have a TV episode, and just because it's a little more fun that way. We're not kind of sidetracking with them, doing all the kind of cliche things you do when you have a Groundhog Day episode, because particularly because Groundhog Day, he does those he does spend a certain period of time doing all the fun things he's always wanted to do, learning the different things, fucking around and all that fun stuff. And so and when you get that trope in different shows, my mind immediately goes to Stargate SG-1 when they do their Groundhog Day episode, and you go through a little montage of seeing the fun things they did. So I like that S.H.I.E.L.D. decided to take a little different route, not go the classic kind of comedical take, but they still had their fun, like a little bit of comedic take with it, but not the straight comedy take of being like, okay, we're gonna have a little montage of them taking advantage of being stuck in a time loop the whole time they're stuck, and they're trying to figure it out the whole time, and they're always progressing forward. That's another thing I think that we didn't spend so much time on them, trying to convince people that they're in a time loop or that something's happening, or trying to repeat the same steps over. Like particularly like Daisy just eventually starts shortcutting all of her little things, just so much so that she's just doing it herself and not even stopping to explain things. So I just enjoyed how different it was from the, like I said, the typical tropey Groundhog Day episode that you get in different sci-fis and different shows that are able to incorporate time travel or time loops into them. So yeah, I really enjoyed episode 9 for that. And then I also liked it being a focus on Daisy and Coulson episode. I've talked about this in a couple of the videos before for this season, that they've had a few of these episodes where we just get two of the characters kind of paired up, and they're the focal point of the story. And so I really like that. It was obviously, we finally get a Daisy and Coulson one, and getting to see them together and going through a whole mission, trying to solve this mystery of like, what's going on with the time drive, how do we solve it, who's killing people now. So I really enjoy just being able to see those two and getting the two of them together before as we're wrapping up the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts on episode 9. I could go on and on about how much I like Groundhog Day stuff and all the different things I liked in that episode. I do like that they had Enoch as kind of a bad guy in it, but it was also kind of obvious. I don't know if it was just me. I saw that coming right away as soon as there's a murder, and I'm like, oh, it's Enoch. Why wouldn't? Of course it's Enoch. And then they eventually put it together that it was Enoch. But I did still enjoy that. It was sad though. I guess I forgot to mention that part. I forgot to write it down in my notes. Sad thing about episode 9 was that we do lose Enoch. Enoch sacrifices himself, rips out his own heart without even blinking, and just hands it over in order for them to stop the time drive from looping and save the day. And so that was a very sad moment for me. I wasn't ready for it. I knew we might lose some characters this season potentially, I didn't want it to be Enoch. I love Enoch. He's a great character that they introduced last season. I just love his dryness. He didn't get to say bye to Fitz, or we didn't get to see his goodbye to Fitz. That's the part where I'm the most heartbroken, I think. They're best friends. They didn't even get to say bye. So that was sad, even though I forgot about writing it down in my notes. But I did watch that episode a few days ago. Anyway, so on episode 10, this episode is where we're visiting another one of the greatest hits, which I've really enjoyed about this season so far. And Coulson even says that himself, the line being digging up our greatest hits in reference to Garrett, a young Garrett brought back, young John Garrett brought into this episode in the 80s. And the best part about this is that they've brought Bill Paxton, who did pass away a couple of years ago, and who had played John Garrett originally, but they brought his son in to play the younger version of John Garrett, which I just think is just good job, guys. If you're gonna do something like that, this is the way Hollywood. This is the one time I'm really happy about nepotism, where it's like, yes, help continue on that character's life a little bit more, and help this son even be able to connect a little more to a character that his father played at one point, because it's not like he's gonna have a chance maybe to do like a remake of Twister. Was Bill Paxton in Twister? Don't quote me on that one. But anyways, the point being is it's just a nice little thing. It's a nice fan moment for us to be able to see, a young Garrett, but also that kind of meta connection of it being the actor's son as well. So I just really, really enjoy that. I enjoy this episode, that he's a big focal point, and seemed like he's going to be a pretty big focal point for at least the next episode, at least two. And so I really enjoyed that they brought him back again, being a greatest hit of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. thing, but we've been doing that this whole season, and I really like it because, well, if we're going to wrap it up, why not have a little bit of fun, especially since they had so much time to plan this season out. It was 2 years ago now that they announced that this would be the last season, so I love the way they have been handling it, but it's just really fun to revisit these, the greatest hits, as they called it. So yeah, this episode was fun, ending off with seeing them take Daisy, with seeing Nathaniel and Garrett taking the Zephyr and Gemma in order to try and track down Fitz, who apparently is the big mystery, in which in this episode there's little hints to be like, maybe Gemma made herself forget because it was too hard a memory to remember that Fitz was gone. And it's like, don't think that. I already thought that before. I thought that when we first brought up the memory thing, but I don't like to think about that. Fitz has to be alive somewhere. I can't handle if he isn't. So but that was still an interesting thing. They start off the episode giving us this little thing where like Gemma's you're seeing that Gemma's almost preparing herself for that to be a possibility, that Fitz isn't around, that he isn't actually off somewhere hiding, that in fact that she blocked this out in order for her to be able to keep going in life, in a sense. So but then we kind of get the confirmation at the end that it's like, well, Sybil's still trying to track him down, and he's apparently wants stopping everything. So I hope we get to see Fitz. The one thing I haven't loved about this season is that he's been gone the whole season. I love Fitz. He's one of my favorite characters. We haven't seen him all season. I don't know where he was off to, but we haven't. So I'm excited to find out where he's been. But that's the only complaint I've had about the whole season so far, is that I would have liked more Fitz. I love Fitz. So hopefully we get to see him next episode, since we only have 3 more episodes left in the whole series, in the season, in the series. It's coming to an end, and it's very sad. And again, I've mentioned this in pretty much every one of the videos for this season. It's a very bittersweet moment, but it's also nice that they were able to actually wrap up and actually plan out this last season and give us this trip down memory lane while giving us all the greatest hits. So I'm enjoying it so far, and I'm trusting them that the next 3 episodes and the way it ends off will be good. But I'm excited to check it out and see it myself. But be sure to let me know in the comments below what you thought about these latest 2 episodes, and maybe some of your predictions for the how they're going to end off the series. I would be curious to hear about that. I don't think any spoilers. But try to avoid too many big. Never mind. Just let me know in the comments below. Thanks again for joining me today. Sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Have a good one.